Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good to be back. Nice to see you all. Hopefully, you have enjoyed your weekend and your Memorial Day holiday. And shout out to all the soldiers out there, past and present. I had some in my family, and hopefully, you guys are enjoying your day. Took a couple of weeks off, actually, about 2 weeks to be exact. And yeah, how it is. Sometimes you just need a little break. No reason, no rhyme, no bad situations. Just wanted to take a little break, and now I'm back. And I have my four comics that I'm going to be sending to PGX to get graded. For those of you unfamiliar with my channel, I have a deal with PGX that I made over 8 years ago. And by deal, I just mean conversation where they allow me to send four books in every month. It used to be for free, but now they charge me $50, which is fine because that includes the grading, the shipping costs, which I have to pay, but it includes the pressings, dry cleanings, which are in-house at PGX, signature verification if need be, also in-house, and to have graders notes added to the back of the slab, um, which is an idea that I came up with, and the owner of PGX, Daniel, was kind enough to implement that and is not even on their website. So if you ever wanted to add graders notes to the back of the slab, which I love that idea and I wish all the grading companies would do it, just um, write on your invoice, "We Love Comics Graders Notes," and it's $5 per slab. So I made sure that they get some free advertisement. So I always do the shout out. And I want to make sure there's a deal for you guys as well. So if you've never used PGX before, if you send 10 or more books to PGX and write in on the invoice the code "We Love Comics Free Press," they will press one of your comics for free. I always mention to people, make sure you indicate which book you want pressed, otherwise it'll just randomly pick one. So, I mean, if you don't care which one, then just tell them you want one of them picked to be pressed. And we got Who Dat at Comics and Movies is here. Good to see you. It's always nice to take a break. Yeah, I mean, being in Florida and everything, it's just every day is a vacation, and every now and then you just need to take some time for yourself and some family. I had my mother actually come visit me the other weekend, and that was really nice. And just got used to just kind of chilling out for a little while. And Who Dat, one of my moderators, and definitely somebody I'm subscribed to, he does not get a lot of views for some reason, which actually blows my mind. So if you guys have never checked out his channel, please do. Great guy. We have similar interests. We kind of think the same. So in that aspect, I feel sorry for you if you think like me. But all kidding aside, go check out his channel. And if you do, just say "We Love Comics" um, sent me, so this way you can get him an extra subscriber or two. He definitely deserves more views than he gets. So let's give a shout out to my paid Patreon members. If you want to help support my channel and also help support the 20, I just say nowadays just 20 stray cats because it does vary between 17 and 25. So I just averaged out to 20, just nice even number, where I've gotten them all spayed and neutered. I feed them twice a day, every day, make sure their water bowls are all filled up and taken care of, any medical bills if they need them, and many of them have. So a lot of the Patreon support actually goes to helping me get food and pay for medications for some of the cats. You can join at patreon.com/Lee Love Comics. Any amount is totally appreciated and not expected. So you will get a shout out every single video I do if you're one of my paid members, regardless of the amount you put. And if I can get 20 paid members in a month, I have giveaways. Yet to give one away yet because we've been stuck at 13. But hey, I appreciate the 13 that have cared enough to be so kind. So shout out to Sith Lord Michael B, James R, Dan L, Herbert R, Annabelle N, Jason B, Kim N. The latest is Blessed, which was our newest member and last member to join my Patreon. And then the last four, um, we have also Kendall Kid Comics. Check out on Instagram, Scott WU077. Check out on Facebook, Stephen L. Turk author. And then again on Instagram at Silver Age Surfer _comics. So if you want me to do like the last four and just shout out um, your business or your social network or your YouTube channel, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll just put your first name and last initial. I will never give out somebody's personal information. So let's show the comics that I'm going to be sending out. As always, I will tell you the price I paid for them, significance, if any, and what I think the grading will be. Now, I always base it on the fact of what I think it will be after a pressing and dry cleaning. And one of the biggest things I recommend to people, no matter who you send your books to get graded, get your books pressed and dry cleaned. I mean, especially for a modern book, the difference between a 9.6 and a 9.8 could be hundreds of dollars. And when you're talking mega key grails and things like that, you're talking point 0.5 of an upgrade could be literally thousands of dollars. So for the small amount that anybody charges you, and it would probably average between $30 and $50 depending on where you go, um, getting your books pressed is amazing. Now, PGX, they will not charge you, even if you said, let's say you send in 10 books and you say, I want to pay for all 10 to be pressed. If they do not feel that a pressing will upgrade your grade, they will not charge you and they'll let you know about it. And I like that because, most businesses, when they get the money, they're just going to take every amount that they can. They are very ethical with that. That's one of the reasons why I called them first of all the three major companies in the beginning when I was calling them, because I also contacted CGC and CBCS to try and make this deal happen. Neither one responded. But the reason I chose PGX first is I remember before I even thought of this idea, I had a couple of books sent to PGX to get graded, and the owner at the time, who I didn't know at the time, pulled me up and said, this particular book that you wanted to pay for to get pressing really isn't going to be improved by a pressing. So, you know, no sense of doing it. So we're not going to charge you. And I thought that was really nice because they could have easily just made an excuse and said, well, we felt it needed to be pressed or it could have been pressed and we're going to charge you. So I like that about them. So again, they do pressings and in-house pressings and dry cleanings, and they also do in-house signatures verification, which I absolutely is a must for these series of books that I've been sending in. If you've been following my channel, you should know this series by right now. So if you know what it is before you even see it, put it in the comments section. But this is a series I highly recommend because I think it's just a matter of time before this gets implemented. Now, even if they've said in the future something's going to happen as far as a movie or a TV show, always keep in mind that until it's on the movie screen or the TV screen, there are no guarantees. Things get changed, things get canceled. It happens all the time. So always take that with a grain of salt. But I think this is almost a no-brainer. And that, of course, this is Avengers versus X-Men. Now, this is issue number 9. I've been sending in, it's a 13-part series. This is the regular series, cover A. Now, they have lots of variants. So if you can get some of the black and white or the ones that are half color and half black and white, those variants are definitely out there and still relatively affordable because no official announcements have been made. And you know what happens once they make one, if they do. And I believe with Avengers vs. X-Men, it's not going to happen next week or next year, but it's coming, which means you have plenty of time to buy these. And most people are not going to pay attention to these. And that's when you could scoop them up for deals. Now, I bought the set, it's issues 0 through 13. I bought it probably about 5 years ago. So I bought a whole bundle. Now, here's the thing that's amazing to me. Each book, as you can see, has signatures of either 5 or 6 signatures on each book. So the minimum amount of signatures on each comic is 5. A few, like so far, I think about 4 or 5 of them have 6 signatures. This one has 5. It is signed by Jimmy Chung, Jason Aaron, Matt Fraction, Laura Martin, and Jonathan Hickman. So if you can get this series, I highly recommend it. And I paid individually for this 13 numbered set. Actually 14, because 0 through 13 you would have to include 0, so it would be 14 issues. I paid $16.07 per issue, which for me, for 5 signatures, is amazing. And they will do the signature verification, and they've done that each time. Now, they've averaged between 9.4s and 9.8s. I think I had one 9.2, which I may resubmit because it just looks like the pressing didn't happen, or it could just still be improved. but a lot of them have come back 9/8. So even though this is a quote unquote newer book, it doesn't guarantee a 9.8. So I always say between a 9.4 and a 9.8 because I mean you can literally grab a book fresh off the shelf at a comic book store, and just because it's fresh off the shelf does not guarantee that it's a 9.8. So always keep that in mind. And we got Team No Sleep here. That you're new. I don't think I've seen you here before. And he knows it. Avengers vs X-Men. So very smart. Good to see you. Next up, this is a no-brainer. Got another deal on this. It looks like at some point somebody was hungry, so they decided instead of making a sandwich or eating a box of Lunchables, they decided to nibble on the comic a little bit. Now, of course, this is either mice or insects, but it's not major. This looks like there was probably a piece of tape, like somebody probably took it out of the comic bag and the tape got stuck. So that looks kind of like a tape pull there. But this obviously, and it goes throughout the whole book, but it's just a little bit. So it's not going to majorly bring the grade down, but this is not a high grade book. But this, of course, is Batman 251. This is considered not only a classic cover, but the first modern version of Joker, where he's more psychotic than kind of like the original laughy, silly clown that he was. And this is definitely a book to get if you haven't had the chance to get it. Love DC. Love Marvel even more, but I've never shied away from any DC books, especially key issues from the Bronze Age, Silver Age, especially Golden Age. But I paid only $107 for this book. Now, of course, like I said, it's a lower grade book because of those things that you saw. But say it with me, ladies and gentlemen, low grade is better than no grade, especially if you can get a deal on it. And I really think this book, normally I do a whole full grade, but I think because of that tape pull and that biting there, I think this is going to be between a 2.0 and a 2.5. The other book I forgot to mention the pages, white pages, obviously. This one I really think is going to be um, creamed off white pages on this one. So it's got some. Now this is bent forward a little bit, so it's not ripped. So that might be fixed when they do the pressings. You can see that happened a couple of spots. So actually, that's a little bit of a chipping there, but this part's bent over a little bit. You can see there's a couple of pieces missing there, so it looks like Bugs got to only the cover. So, lower grade book, I think easily 2.0 to a 2.5. Spine actually doesn't look that bad considering. And this is a book, I think, around 73, 74. Correct me if I'm wrong. You could usually tell by the price, but I think the price was ripped off with that tape pull. But if anybody knows the exact year, you could put it in the comments section. But for $107, I mean, that to me is a no-brainer to go get in, and I could make money on that even if it comes back at 2.0. Because so I always tell people, look for deals, wait for deals, they're out there. Haven't sent one of these in a while. We of course have Amazing Spider-Man 300. If you're a comic book collector, you have at least one of these. I have several. I've been collecting now at least minimum of a newsstand, unless of course the regular version of this I could find a steal. So newsstand obviously is going to be a lot rarer than the regular version, especially when it comes to modern comics. I'm not sure if this one has a Mark Jewelers variant. I do not own one, but if I ever found one, rest assured I would buy it because I tell people all the time, if you can find the Mark Jewelers variants, which is approximately between 5 and 7% of a total print run, get them. But newsstand is the next best thing. This obviously, classic cover has been basically stolen on 5,000 different copies of other people's comics. They call it, and paying homage. I really think it's just lazy people just trying to steal somebody else's idea to make money. It's kind of like somebody just re-singing somebody else's song. Doesn't take talent to do that. But this, of course, was originally done by Todd McFarlane, who's actually copied it himself. But I mean, I don't blame him because he made the idea. This is not the first appearance of Venom, keep in mind. This is the first full appearance of Venom, but absolutely, you're talking the 300th anniversary. The very next issue, they go back to his classic suit. Definitely all around great book to get. Again, in the newsstand variant. This is a higher grade, but not 9.8 high grade. I paid $222.25 for this book. I'm predicting after pressing and dry cleaning, probably between a 9.0 and a 9.4 off-white pages. So especially for that grade, not bad at all when you're considering a newsstand. Definitely not a small print run for that book, but I always tell people don't focus on print runs. Focus on desirability. Because it doesn't matter if you have a book that's only one copy of it if no one wants it. If it's not significant, it's not going to be worth anything. And at the same token, you can have a book that's not rare, like for example, Amazing Fantasy 15 is not a rare book, but yet it's going to get lots of money, even in a zero point 0.5, even in a coverless, even if they're selling just a page of it. I mean, you could spend $100 to $200 just for one page of that book, and it's not rare. It's always, you have to think supply and demand. If you have 5 million of something, which is not scarce, but you have 7 million people that want those 5 million, that means 2 million people will have to outbid each other to acquire one of those items, whether it be a comic, whether it be a car, whatever. So it doesn't matter. And I see so many people focus on the print run of a comic. There's a reason why books like Amazing Spider-Man 300 will always make profit or at least be valuable. Now, of course, it fluctuates because, the market fluctuates and everything, but you're not going to find that in a dollar bin unless it's somebody that just doesn't know anything about comics. So these are going to retain their value because as soon as you put one up for sale, it's usually sold. It's because people want it. And remember, even if there's 5 million, I guarantee you, every single comic book channel that you watch that has an Amazing Spider-Man 300, I guarantee you they have more than one. So if there's 5 million of them in existence and a lot of people have multiple copies, that makes it even harder for somebody else to get them. So just keep those things in mind. All right, so last but not least, I have so many copies of this. I was telling people for years ago to buy this book. I was telling people back when I was still living in New York, probably about 8 years ago, and it's still on this channel so you could see it, that this book, in my opinion, was the most undervalued Bronze Age book out there. So let's see who pays attention to my channels and knows what I'm talking about before I even display it. Whether you're in the live chat or whether you're watching this later on, you could pause it. Let me put in the comment section what book you think I'm talking about. When I'm talking about the most undervalued and underappreciated Marvel Bronze Age book. Pause it for a second and then put your comment. But here's the book for those who don't want to do that or have already done it. Of course, Hulk number 180, which is the first true appearance of Wolverine. You cannot have issue 181 without 180. Yes, it is a cameo appearance. He does have his name identified, and he is on just the last panel of this book, but is still his first appearance and very desirable. Now, this has the Marvel value stamp. If you're collecting this book, and especially a lot of books around the Bronze Age, you have to make sure of a thing called the Marvel stamp, which is basically just a 1 inch by 1 inch square that is looking like a stamp, but it's not a real stamp because it can't stick to anything. As a matter of fact, I always thought this is funny. The reason a lot of them got cut out, excuse me, is they actually had a book that you can apply. You could take the stamps out of the comics and you can apply them onto this stamp book, which had blank spaces for each one. But it's not like you could lick it or peel it and it would stick. You literally have to tape it to it. So I don't understand why anybody would have done that, but obviously people did. So make sure if you have this book, especially Hulk 181, but even books like Amazing Spider-Man 129, many others. I mean, you're talking literally thousands of different books. Make sure they have the Marvel value stamps. So if you don't know what those are, do some research because if the 1 inch by 1 inch square is missing, you will now get a green label qualified. And I always tell people to be careful because there was a time I ordered a Hulk 180. This was back when I lived in New York. And the eBay seller even showed a picture of the Marvel value stamp. And when I got it, I always tell people don't ever assume, make sure you check and verify. And I checked and verified. and the Marvel value stamp was not there, it was cut out. So that seller was lying and putting some other image of the Marvel value stamp in the auction, hoping that somebody wouldn't verify because they saw the picture. So make sure you do that. So this, of course, is a mega key book. Price is going down a little bit. To me, that's a buying opportunity. Remember, like anything in life, you have peaks and valleys. You want to buy low and sell high. Most people, because they invest improperly and base it on emotion instead of strategy, what do? They panic when things go down and start selling, which makes no sense. And they only buy when books get really expensive and everybody's talking about it. Those are the worst times to do these things. And I try and get people that follow my channel to re educate themselves and think logically and not emotionally when it comes to investing. I was buying these when nobody cared about them. This is actually one of the more expensive ones I bought, but this is a higher grade. Now, of course, this isn't a 9.0 or anything, but I only paid $275 for this. It does have the Marvel value stamp. I did check it and verify it. I always do that. I'm predicting between a 6.5 and a 7.5. Might even go a little higher because it's not in really bad condition at all. But I'd rather guess wrong lower than and it be higher than guess higher and it ends up being lower. Now, the spine looks pretty darn good. There is some very minuscule chipping along the bottom. Not a lot, and not very long, but it is there. So that will lower it, not significantly, but enough to be in, I believe, in the range that I'm thinking. But we'll find out. So for $275, and it's off-white pages, definitely worth taking the chance. I mean, some of my Hulk 180s, I was buying them for under $100. Now, I wasn't buying them back in the 80s. I was buying them, like I said, about 7 or 8 years ago. Deals are always out there, and when something like that, especially when you're talking the first appearance of Wolverine, albeit a cameo, when nobody's paying attention to it, that's the time to pounce. Not when it's all of a sudden there's a movie announcement and all of a sudden everybody wants it and everybody's telling you it's the flavor of the month book to get. That's when the prices are doubling, and that's the worst time to be buying. But again, like I said, most people, they do things backwards. They buy stuff when everybody talks about it and it gets really expensive, and they don't talk about it or they sell when prices go down. That's why you see in the market all the time when they talk about the stock market. When do they tell people to buy? When it's all-time highs and everybody's talking about it. Why? Because they want the suckers to come in the all-time highs. So the people that were investing low and watching their portfolio and tenfold in profit, they turn around and sell them to those people, and then eventually it goes down and they buy it all back up for pennies on the dollar. So you could be one of those people that just listens to people because they basically say what you want to hear, or you can be a smart investor and eliminate the um the fear of missing out and the emotion of that buyer's high because you bought when everybody else wants. I'm buying stuff when no one else wants them. And when do I sell them? When everybody seems to want them. I mean, as they say, a fool and their money are soon parted. So don't be one of those people. That's why I recommend it all the time. And you know, even if you're buying a book just to read it, why would you want to spend more money than you have to? Even if it's just to read it, or even if it's just to put it on your wall because you like the picture of the cover, or it brings you nostalgia. Why spend $1,000 on a book when you could spend 500 on a book? It just makes more sense to me. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Not a lot of viewers, and that's perfectly fine. To me, it's quality over quantity. But if you want to critique my AI art, please do. Let's give a shout out to my three people in the live chat. So, of course, you guys are all going to be today's surprise subscriber shout outs. Who Dat Comics and Movies, Team No Sleep, and Punisher XS just joined in. So, you guys know what to do in the comment section if you would like to leave a link to either your YouTube channel, social network, eBay store, Amazon store, or even your own website for your own business. I'll leave it up to you. Just keep in mind, all links have to be verified. They will automatically go to spam. This keeps trolls and spammers from putting inappropriate links onto my channel. So if you do see one of these fine gentlemen place a link and you see it in the comment section, it means I did verify it. I did approve it, and hopefully you'll go give them some support. So that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you hate it, by all means, stamp that dislike. Show me how much you dislike what I do, and I'll appreciate your viewership nonetheless. So, really appreciate you guys checking it out. And Carl Cooper is here just last second. Says great video as always, Chris. Thank you, Carl. I'll include you as the surprise subscriber shout out. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, you don't even have to be a subscriber to get that shout out. I mean, I'm never going to verify anyway. It's just something nice to do that very few people want to hear from me, but there are people who appreciate it. So for me, that's what it's all about. And ABC Comics, I guess we're going to leave it all the way from Scotland. By the way, um, this one of the people that bought my auctions wanted me to mention this, so I'm just going to give a shout out. I'm not going to say their name, but they actually just recently from Great Britain sent me in cash the full payment for a comic in my auction, and a week later, they actually already got the book and sent me a message and told me that they actually needed a crowbar to open the package because it was packaged so well. So if you're one of the people that's been hesitant to buy from me for whatever reason, check out all the people that have purchased from me and the people that buy from me multiple times. I mean, you have to understand something about the internet. If the internet is jealous of you, they'll make up every lie and every story about you to try and hurt your credibility because misery loves company. But all I can tell you is this: if I was a person that was not honorable with my auctions and my sales, why would I have people repeatedly buying from me? And I mean multiple. I have some people that have bought from me over a dozen times. So just shout out to that person. They said they don't leave comments on any videos, which is fine. I respect their privacy. But they did say I can mention the email. So if you're one of those people that's been hesitant on any of my auctions, and trust me on this, I love being a person that honors their word, and I love dealing with those that honor their word. So shout out to everybody. So Nitro, ABC Comics, ABZ Comics, Call Cooper, Punisher XS, Team No Sleep, and Who Dat Comics and Movies. All of you are going to be today's surprise subscriber shout outs. You could hit subscribe if you want. You could hit unsubscribe if you want. That's up to you. I appreciate your viewership. Um, Join my Patreon, help support not only my channel, but also all the stray animals that I take care of. Your support helps buy food, pay for medical bills, and, there are some that are on medications, so it absolutely helps. So thank you for that, and you'll get your name up. And Nitro says, hope you're not too burned out due to no one biting a week or so ago. No, Nitro, like what happens in all of my auctions, um, all of my sales, I ended up selling. I'll tell you right now. Now, did I had zero bidders on the actual auction, which for the two times that's actually happened. This was my worst auction, and I sold of the 18 comics. I sold one, two, three, four, five, six, seven of them, and possibly another because the person asked me if I can hold on to it until June 1st, which I am happily doing for him, and that's Daredevil #1. I'm not going to say who it is because until something happens, I mean, they may not have their um, name out there. I mean, they may not want their name out there, but this was my quote unquote worst auction, and I sold basically about $5,000 worth of comic books, and that money helps me to buy cat food. I bought him a lot of cat food for the inside and outside cats. Paid for some the vet bills and everything, and paid for some of my own bills. So I am definitely not bummed out because I've told people all the time, my auctions, 90% of my buyers buy either before or after the auction. So even though I had no bidders, which by the way, it was my mistake because I didn't realize that when I said I was going to do the auction on that Sunday, I didn't realize that that was Mother's Day. So once I realized, because one of my subscribers pointed it out, and I already made the date, so I wasn't going to change it. Once that happened, I knew what was going to happen, but I also knew that I always allow people to buy up to 1 week after an auction, or to make an offer before the auction ever happens, and that's exactly what everybody did. So am I bummed out that nobody bid during the auction? Not one bit. So I didn't take a break because of that. I had my mother come visit me for a week, and I was just enjoying the time off because I live in Florida, and there's palm trees and beautiful white sandy beaches and stuff. And every now and then you have to just, enjoy outside worlds and not just always inside the internet. So, Nitro, I appreciate what you're saying with that, but trust me when I say I did not do bad at all in the auction, even though I had zero bidders while the auction was taking place. And that's not even the first time that that's happened in the past. And I'm perfectly okay with it because I know let's put it this way, every single auction that I've done, I've never not sold anything. I've always had at least 5 books out of I usually like auction off roughly around 20 comics. The worst I've ever done was, I think, years ago, where I only sold like 5 comics, but they were all like Grail books. My average, I've sold more than half of the auction comics. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm not bummed out at all. So always appreciate that. Nitro says, "Now, man, it's all good. It happens as long as you're able to pay your bills and feed your stray cats in any way. That's all that matters." Exactly. I any money that somebody uses to buy my comics or supports me on Patreon, none of it is for me to go on a vacation. I mean, I live in Florida where I'm a 20-minute drive, give or take, 35 minutes if you catch every traffic light, because for some reason, every traffic light, takes 5.5 minutes. And I think it's illegal for people to use their blinkers here. But I could literally drive to a beach that people spend literally thousands of dollars to visit for a weekend to 10 days if they're lucky. I live, that's why I recommend to anybody, if you don't live in Florida, you're just on a vacation every day. So I'm literally a 15 to 25-minute drive from amazing beaches on the coast. I see palm trees all the time. So I don't need to go on a vacation. I don't, any of the money that supports my channel goes either to paying our bills or, like I said, the majority of it helps support my stray animals that I take care of. Um, these cats have basically been abandoned. There were owners that literally threw them out of their houses when they moved and just left them to die, not giving them a care in the world. And I just think that's a disgusting thing to do. And I took it upon myself, and I spend all of my money pretty much on them. If you guys ever wanted, I'll show you one day. I literally have about $5,000 to $6,000 worth of cat food for the inside and outside cats to make sure that they are taken care of, even if there's times where money is tight. So anytime I have like support from my Patreon members or I do a sale, I stock up on cat food for the times where things are a little leaner because I want to make sure they will never go without. I make sure that I even not only single filter their water, I double filter their drinking water, especially the outside cats. Because you know what? I wouldn't want to be homeless. I wouldn't want to have everybody walk past me and not give a damn whether I live or die. I mean, there was one time I literally watched a person walking down the street where I live, and one of the stray cats, tail straight up being friendly, was meowing, going over to this person, trying to get their attention, and they just kept walking with their cell phone, trying to pretend they didn't notice this helpless cat, basically saying, at the very least, how about you pet me and show me some love? So I spend twice a day, and as a matter of fact, I've almost had heat stroke the past couple of days. Another reason why I haven't made many videos, because where I live right now, with the heat index, with the humidity, it's about 102 degrees. And yet I'll go out there every day because no one else will. And if no one else will do it, I damn well am going to do it. So most of the money, I would say 90% of the money that is either through sold comic books or the generous 13 people that have joined my Patreon goes towards helping the cats and paying my bills. I'm not buying myself video games. I'm not buying myself fancy clothes. I'm not going on vacations. I'm not buying jewelry. I'm spending it on everybody else. Whether people agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. And if anybody wants me to show a video of all the cat food so you could see that I'm not kidding, I'll be more than happy to show it that that's where the majority of the money goes. Because just the outside cats alone, they go through 60 cans of cat food every 3 days. 60 cans of cat food costs $42.98 plus tax. So roughly around $45 every 3 days. I don't get days off. I go out there if it's raining. I go out there if it's 35 degrees. I go out there if it's 102 degrees. I've gone out there. I made sure during that last hurricane that I couldn't get them all, unfortunately, but I grabbed a few of the stray cats and took them with me and my wife to the hotel. They're my priority. And if anybody wants to contribute to that, by all means, your kindness goes towards a good cause. Many people I see on YouTube, all over YouTube, these are people that get 150,000 views in a first day, and they're telling people to join their Patreon, and they're there bragging about their new Ferrari and their new, second home and all this other stuff. You're not going to see that here because I'm not spending any of the money on that stuff. Um, my comics eventually will help my wife and I buy our forever home. And that's my only priority. Would I love video games for myself, buying a PlayStation 5? Because I still have a PlayStation 4. Would I love to buy an arcade game? Sure. Would I love a pool table? Sure. Would I love all these nice things? I sure would. But not at the expense of everyone else. That's just, I'm old school that way. I grew up, people took care of you, you took care of them. So my family, which includes those cats, are the what's my priority. You can understand that, you could like it, you can hate it, you could not believe it. That's perfectly fine. I'm not here to try and convince anybody of anything. So, Nitro says that's crazy. They could send the animals to a shelter instead of leaving them. Yeah, you'd think that, but several people have done that around where I live in Florida. And if you live in Florida, and if you've ever seen that happen, because it's not a rare thing around here, unfortunately. I guess people think because the weather's nice that gives it okay. I mean, last year, like a year and a half ago, I was feeding some of the stray cats, and there was literally a bald eagle. And I have a feeling because where one of the kittens was coming from, there was a lamppost right up by the car that this kitten used to come from. And it was standing on that lamppost looking down. If it wasn't for me being there, that eagle would have scooped that kitten up. Well, after I saw that eagle, a week later, that kitten disappeared, never to be seen again. I named her Oreo because she was a black and white kitten. And I have a feeling, I don't really know, but I have a feeling that that bald eagle scooped down and took her away. I've lost a few cats along the way. I had one person that shot one of them with a BB gun. I mean, there are very cruel people in this world. And you know what? I don't want to be one of those. So if it means I have to go out and potentially pass out from heat stroke and have to take a nap because I'm exhausted, or going out in the rain and getting soaking wet, or going out at night when it's wintertime here, because even in the wintertime, it can get cold. I mean, it can get down to like 38 degrees where I am, not often, but we've even brought cats inside when it was too cold or too hot to let them be, you know, protected. Or if there's a severe rainstorm, not every one of them comes in, but it's just, you know what? There's plenty of mean and rude and selfish people in the world. I don't want to be one of those. So if my small contribution in the world is I can take about, like I said, between 17 and 25 stray cats and make their lives a little bit better, and like I said, I've gotten them all fixed. So they can't have kittens, they cannot reproduce, but I make sure they live their lives as long as they can. Some of them are already about to turn 6 years old, when the average lifespan of a cat that's a stray is about 3 years. So they've already lived double their normal average lifespan because I help them. And I make sure they have things like probiotics in their food. I make sure they have water in their food at times like today when it's really hot out. And you know what? Most people don't care. Probably most people aren't even listening right now, and that's perfectly fine. But this matters to me. So that's why, with the shout out to my paid Patreon members that support me, that's where the majority of your money goes. So you're helping me to be able to support God's creatures. We'll put it that way. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Thank you for viewing my channel. Thank you for whether you've subscribed or hit unsubscribe, whether you hit the thumbs up or thumbs down or didn't do either. I appreciate you being here for a brief moment. I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section. I respond to everybody's comments. And say it with me, ladies and gentlemen. It is not you. It is not I. It is We Love Comics. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next video. Peace out, everybody. Oh, and don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered.